The distress call. The gentle hum of the UES Horizon's engines provided a constant backdrop to Captain Elena Rey's thoughts as she stood on the bridge, gazing at the star-speckled void through the main view screen. Her ship was completing the final stretch of a 3-month exploratory mission at the edge of human-controlled space. The crew was restless, eager to return home after cataloging 17 new solar systems and establishing communication beacons throughout this previously unmapped sector. Captain Rice was tall with copper skin and black hair pulled back in a tight bun, revealing a face marked with several small scars, reminders of a life spent on Earth, humanity's cradle, classified as a Class 12 death world by the Galactic Council. Humans rarely mention this classification. Other species did so with a mix of fear and awe. Another quiet day, Rise murmured, rolling her shoulders to ease the tension. 3 years since humanity had joined the interstellar community, and most of their missions involved peaceful exploration or diplomatic endeavors. The Horizon, despite being equipped with the latest defensive and offensive systems, had never fired its weapons outside of training exercises. Captain. Lieutenant Sarah Chen's voice cut through the silence, her fingers flying across the communications console. I'm picking up a distress signal. Universal emergency band. Reyes turned sharply. Source. The Nylari system, Captain. About 6 light hours from our position. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew about the Nylari, a peaceful, crystalline species with bioluminescent bodies who had welcomed humans into the galactic community with open arms. They were philosophers, artists, and mediators known throughout explored space. They had been among the first to establish an embassy on Earth. Put it through, Rise ordered, moving to the center of the bridge. Static crackled before a desperate voice emerged, the universal translator working to convert the melodic Nylari language. Under attack. Multiple warships. Civilians. Please. Anyone. Help us. The message dissolved into interference, then silence. Can you clean it up? Get them back. Rise asked. Chen worked frantically at her station before shaking her head. Signal's gone, Captain. But I've logged the coordinates. It was coming from their homeworld, Nylar Prime. Rice didn't hesitate. Alert Earth Command. Tell them we're responding to a distress call from the Nylari. Set course for the Nylari system. Maximum sustainable speed. Commander Jackson Ortiz, her first officer, looked up from his station. Captain, protocol dictates we should wait for orders when people are dying. We don't wait. Rice cut him off firmly. The Nylari helped us when we needed allies. We don't abandon friends. Ortiz nodded and began preparing the ship for faster-than-light travel. Lieutenant Maya Patil, at the tactical station, spoke up. Captain, the Horizon is just one vessel. If there's a full-scale attack happening at Nylar Prime. Rice met her gaze steadily. Then we'll fight, and we'll call for help. She turned to Chen. Send a message to every Earth ship within 3 days' travel. Tell them Nylari homeworld under attack. Responding now. Fleet requested. As the crew jumped into action, Rice activated a secure channel to Earth Defense Force headquarters. Admiral Victor Okafor's weathered face appeared on screen, his expression concerned. Captain Rice, what's this about the Nylari? We intercepted a distress call, sir. Their homeworld is under attack. We've set course to respond. Okafor frowned. Do we know who's attacking them? No, sir. The message was fragmented. The Admiral was quiet for a moment. Rice knew what he was thinking. Earth had many cautious allies and even more wary observers in the galaxy. Many species regarded humans with suspicion due to their Deathworld origins. Humans were stronger, faster, and more resilient than most spacefaring species, capable of surviving conditions that would kill others. Some called them primitive or dangerously unpredictable because of this. I'll mobilize the nearest battle group, Okafor finally said. But it will take at least 18 hours for them to reach you. We'll hold until then, sir. Reyes. Okafor's voice took on a warning tone. Identify the attacking force before engaging. We don't need a war with someone we can't handle. Reyes allowed herself a small smile. With respect, Admiral, there's no one we can't handle. Okafor sighed. That's exactly the kind of thinking that makes the rest of the galaxy nervous about us. Maybe they should be nervous, Reyes said quietly. Especially if they're attacking our friends. The connection closed, and Reyes turned back to her crew. Time to the Nylari system. 5 hours at emergency speed, Captain, Ortiz reported. Make it 4, Reyes ordered. Chief Engineer Devi Sharma's voice came through the ship's speakers. Captain, pushing the engines that hard cold. I know the risks, Chief. Do it anyway. Aye, Captain, Sharma replied, and the ship's hum intensified as the engines powered up. Reyes returned to studying the star charts, her mind racing. The Nylari had no valuable resources that couldn't be found elsewhere. They weren't strategically positioned. They had no enemies that Earth knew of unless. Lieutenant Patel, Reyes called to her tactical officer, bring up everything we have on species known to target peaceful worlds. Patel worked at her console, and soon a list appeared on a nearby screen. Reyes scanned it quickly, stopping at one name, Vexcar. The Vexcar were insectoid beings from a resource-poor world. They had evolved as hive-minded conquerors, viewing other sentient species as either threats to eliminate or resources to exploit. They raided worlds for materials and food, often enslaving populations for labor. It's them, Reyes said, pointing at the screen. It has to be the Vexcar. Patel looked uncertain. Captain, the Vexcar have never been reported in this sector before. There's always a first time, Reyes replied grimly. And if I'm right, the Nylari are in serious trouble. Reyes walked the bridge perimeter, making eye contact with each crew member. I want all weapons ready, shields at maximum capacity, and I want everyone to remember something important. The crew waited, watching their captain intently. The Vexcar think they're the apex predators of the galaxy, Reyes said, her voice low and certain. But they've never faced humans in battle. They don't understand what it means to come from Earth, to evolve on a world where everything from the weather to microscopic bacteria can kill you. She looked back at the stars streaking past on the view screen. The Vexcar are about to learn what happens when you threaten someone under human protection. They think they're conquerors. Reyes's eyes narrowed. We'll show them what real survivors look like. The horizon raced through space, a single ship answering a cry for help. But throughout human-controlled space, other vessels were changing course, preparing weapons, rallying to the call. A fleet was assembling, and the Vexcar would soon learn why Earth was classified as a death world. 4 hours later, the horizon slowed as it reached the edge of the Nylari system. Captain Reyes stood at the center of the bridge, her expression hardened into stone. The ship had pushed its engines beyond safe parameters to arrive quickly, but they had made it. Scan the system, Reyes ordered. Lieutenant Patel's fingers moved rapidly across her tactical console as the ship's sensors mapped planets, ships, and energy signatures throughout the system. Captain, Patel reported, her voice tight. I'm detecting 9 large vessels in orbit around Nylar Prime. Energy signatures match known Vexcar technology. Reyes nodded grimly. She had been right. Any other Earth ships in the system yet? She asked. Lieutenant Chen looked up from communications. Yes, Captain. 2 ships have arrived. The destroyer Indomitable and the cruiser Relentless. They're holding position just behind us. That was faster than Reyes had expected. It seemed other captains had pushed their engines hard too. Open a channel to our ships, Reyes said. When the connection was ready, she spoke clearly and calmly. This is Captain Reyes of the Horizon. We have confirmed Vexcar forces attacking Nylar Prime. We will move in together. Indomitable, provide cover for the Relentless. The cruiser has our heaviest weapons. We need it intact. 2 voices responded with understood, Captain. Show me the planet, Reyes commanded. The main screen changed to display Nylar Prime, a world of breathtaking beauty with swirling blue-green oceans and crystalline landmasses that normally reflected sunlight in prismatic patterns. But now the beauty was marred by fire. Even from orbit, they could see burning cities. Vex-Car landing ships were descending to the surface like hungry predators. "Those monsters," whispered Commander Ortiz. Reyes's hands clenched into fists at her sides. "How many Nylari on the planet?" Patel checked her readings. "Approximately 4 billion, Captain." 4 billion people who had never fought a war, who had no weapons that could effectively stop the Vex-Car, who were dying while the horizon watched from space. "We're going in," Reyes declared. "All ships, advance." The 3 Earth vessels moved forward, engines glowing as they accelerated toward Nylar Prime. "Captain, the Vex-Car have detected us," Patel reported. 3 of their ships are breaking orbit to intercept. "Put it through," Reyes ordered. The screen changed to show a Vex-Car commander. The insectoid alien had a chitinous exoskeleton, compound eyes, and mandibles that clicked as it spoke. Multiple limbs moved constantly, adjusting controls on what appeared to be a command harness. "Human vessels," the Vex-Car said, its voice translated into a harsh, clicking speech pattern. "This is Hive Commander Zexrul of the Vex-Car Dominion. The subjugation of this world is official Vex-Car business. Depart immediately or be destroyed." Reyes stepped forward, keeping her expression neutral. "This is Captain Alina Reyes of the Earth Defense Force. You are attacking a peaceful world allied with Earth. Withdraw immediately." The Vex-Car commander's antennae twitched, a sign of amusement or contempt. 3 ships. That is your response. The Nylari begged for help from anyone who could hear. "Is this all Earth sends?" Reyes smiled, though her eyes remained cold. "You misunderstand, Commander. These 3 ships aren't the full human response." She nodded to Chen, who activated the emergency broadcast system. "They're just the ones who got here first. The rest of the fleet is inbound." Reyes continued calmly. The Vex-Car's mandibles clicked rapidly. "You lie. Our intelligence indicates the nearest Earth fleet is days away." "Then your intelligence is outdated," Reyes replied. "But you're welcome to stay and find out." Before the Vex-Car could respond, Patel called out, "Captain." 4 Vex-Car landing craft rising from the planet's surface. Reyes turned back to the screen. "It seems some of your forces are retreating already. Commander, wise choice." The Vex-Car commander's compound eyes seemed to glitter with malice. "Those ships carry valuable cargo. The strongest Nylari specimens will serve the Hive. The rest are expendable." Reyes's smile vanished. "No, Commander, they won't." She cut the transmission and turned to her crew. "Target those landing craft." "Captain," Patel hesitated, "if we fire on them." "The Vex-Car will attack," Reyes finished. "I know. Do it anyway." The Horizon's weapon systems came online, energy banks charging with power. Indomitable, relentless, Reyes called to the other ships. "Focus on those landing craft. We're getting those prisoners back." The Earth vessels surged forward, their smaller, faster frames allowing them to cut through space toward the ascending Vex-Car ships. "Captain," Chen reported, "Commander Harris of the Relentless wants to know the plan when, not if, the Vex-Car fleet opens fire." Reyes considered this for a moment. "Tell him we hold until help arrives." Ortiz looked at his captain with concern. "Captain, even with 3 ships, we're badly outnumbered. The Vex-Car have 9 capital ships." "I'm aware, Commander," Reyes said quietly. "But every minute we keep the Vex-Car busy is a minute they're not bombarding the planet. And every minute buys time for more Earth ships to arrive." The Horizon and Indomitable opened fire simultaneously. Brilliant beams of energy cut across space, striking the engines of 2 Vex-Car landing craft. The ships began to drift, their power systems damaged. Almost immediately, 5 Vex-Car warships broke formation and moved to intercept. "Here they come," Patil announced. Reyes took her command chair. "All hands, battle stations, shields at maximum." The crew moved with practiced efficiency. Unlike the Vexcar, humans had never stopped preparing for war. Even in times of peace, they trained constantly. It was in their nature, shaped by countless generations of fighting to survive on their deadly homeworld. The lead Vexcar warship is in weapons range, Paddle reported. Hold fire, Rise ordered. Let them shoot first. Ortiz looked at her with surprise. I want the record to show they started this, Rise explained. But be ready to return fire the second they attack. They didn't have to wait long. The Vexcar ship fired, green energy lancing out toward the Indomitable. Now, Rise ordered. All ships, open fire. The space between the vessels lit up with energy beams and explosions. The battle for Nylar Prime had begun. From her command chair, Reyes opened a secure channel to Earth Fleet Command. This is Captain Reyes. We have engaged Vexcar forces at Nylar Prime. 9 capital ships confirmed. Request immediate reinforcements. Admiral O'Keffer's reply came almost instantly. Rise. The First Fleet is already en route. 47 ships. Hold position. Reyes watched as the Relentless took a hit to its shields, the energy barrier flaring as it absorbed the impact. We'll hold, sir, Reyes assured him. Just tell the fleet to hurry. As she closed the channel, Reyes looked at the burning planet on the screen. She thought about the peaceful Nilari, who had never harmed anyone, who were now learning the harsh truth about the galaxy, that not everyone valued peace. But they were also learning another truth. When humans hear a call for help, they come. The Deathworlders arrive. Admiral Wei Zhang stood on the bridge of the Earth dreadnought Leviathan as it led 46 warships through faster-than-light travel. At 60 years old, Zhang had witnessed humanity's first contact with alien life and had helped shape Earth's defense policy ever since. The thin scar ran across his right cheek, a reminder of the Mars Colony Rebellion, when he'd chosen to negotiate rather than bombard the settlements from orbit. Status report, he called, his voice steady and measured. Commander Aisha Okonkwo, his second in command, checked her console. All ships maintaining formation. Admiral, we'll exit FTL near the Nylari system in 12 minutes. Zhang nodded. The emergency call had reached Earth 16 hours ago, and the response had been faster than even he had expected. Ships from Luna, Mars, the Jupiter colonies, and even the distant Alpha Centauri outposts had answered. Some had been in the middle of training exercises, others undergoing repairs. None of that mattered when the call came. What's the latest from Captain Reyes? Zhang asked. Okonkwo's expression grew concerned. The 3 advanced ships are still engaging the Vexcar. They've taken significant damage but are holding position. The Indomitable has lost engine control but continues to fight. The Relentless reports shield failures on its starboard side. And the Nilari. The Vexcar have landed troops in most major population centers. Reports are grim, Admiral. The Nilari have no military infrastructure or weapons capable of resisting the invasion. Zhang's eyes hardened. He had met Nilari diplomats before, crystalline beings who communicated as much through light patterns as through words, who valued knowledge and harmony above all else. The very thought of them facing Vexcar ground forces made his blood run cold. Prepare all Marine units for immediate deployment once we arrive, he ordered. Priority is protecting Nylari civilians. Yes, Admiral. Zhang walked to the massive view screen at the front of the bridge, watching the strange patterns of FTL space flow past. He had studied the Vexcar extensively when they first appeared on humanity's threat assessment radar. They evolved as a hive-minded species on a resource-depleted world, forcing them to become raiders and conquerors. Their military doctrine relied on overwhelming numbers and superior technology, rather than tactical innovation. They had never faced humans in a major confrontation before. Open a channel to all ships, Zhang commanded. When the connection was established, Zhang spoke clearly. This is Admiral Zhang. We are minutes away from engaging the Vexcar forces attacking Nylar Prime. He paused, gathering his thoughts. Many of you have never faced the Vexcar before, so understand this. They operate with a hive mentality. They attack worlds they perceive as weak. They take slaves. They exterminate those who resist. Zhang's voice grew stronger. The Vexcar have never encountered humans in full-scale combat. They do not understand what it means to evolve on a world where everything, the weather, the animals, even microscopic organisms, can kill you. He looked around at his bridge crew, seeing determination in their eyes. Earth made us strong not because we sought to dominate, but because we refused to be dominated. We survived ice ages and pandemics. We outlasted predators faster and stronger than ourselves. We endured disasters that should have ended our species a dozen times over. Zhang straightened his uniform. The Vexcar believe that being conquerors makes them powerful. Today, we will show them what it means to be survivors. Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for a peaceful people who cannot fight for themselves. He ended the transmission and turned to his tactical officer. Commander Lai, what's our battle plan? The officer pulled up a holographic display of the Nylari system. The Vexcar have 9 capital ships in orbit around Nylar Prime. Our advance force has damaged 3 of them. We'll exit FTL here. She indicated a position behind the Vexcar formation, cutting off their retreat. All fighters will launch immediately to target their engines. Our capital ships will focus fire on their command vessels. Zhang nodded. And the ground forces. 7,000 Marines ready to drop as soon as we secure orbital superiority. Lai replied. Colonel Santos will command the ground operation. Very good, Zhang said. He turned to Okonkwo. Time to arrival. 2 minutes, Admiral. Zhang returned to his command chair. In his 35 years of service, he had learned that no battle plan survived first contact with the enemy. But he had also learned that humans adapted faster than any species in known space. It was their greatest strength, forged through millions of years of overcoming challenges on the deadliest known inhabited planet. Exiting FTL in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The swirling patterns on the view screen vanished, replaced by the star-filled darkness of normal space. Ahead of them, the blue-green sphere of Nylar Prime hung against the void, mired by the fires of war. 9 large Vexcar ships surrounded the planet. 3 smaller vessels, the Earth ships that had arrived first, were engaged in battle with them. Launch all fighters, Zhang ordered. Target the Vexcar engines first. I want those ships immobilized. Across the human fleet, launch bay doors opened. Hundreds of smaller craft poured out, racing toward the Vexcar vessels. Admiral, the communications officer called out, we're being hailed by the Vexcar flagship. On screen, Zhang replied. The image of Hive Commander Zexrul appeared. The Vexcar's compound eyes widened, an unusual expression for its species. This is impossible, Zexrul chittered. Our intelligence indicated no significant human forces within 3 days' travel of this system. Zhang allowed himself a small smile. Your intelligence was wrong, Commander. The Earth Defense Fleet responds to all distress calls within our sphere of influence. Nylar Prime is under our protection. The Vexcar's mandibles clicked rapidly. Protection. The Nylari are weak. They create nothing of value. They exist to be used by the strong. That, Zhang said calmly, is where we fundamentally disagree. He turned to Lai. Target their flagship. All forward batteries. Wait. The Vexcar commander raised several limbs. The Vexcar Dominion offers terms. We will withdraw from Nylar Prime if... There are no terms, Zhang interrupted. You will surrender unconditionally, or you will be destroyed. Your ground forces will lay down their weapons immediately. Any Vexcar ship that powers down its weapon systems will be permitted to leave Nylari space after surrendering its commanding officers for war crimes tribunals. Zexrul's antennae vibrated with what humans had learned to recognize as rage. You would dictate terms to the Vexcar. We have conquered 100 worlds. We will not be ordered about by primitive apes from a backwater planet. Zhang sighed. As you wish. He cut the transmission and turned to his communications officer. Signal all ships. Commence attack. The human fleet moved forward in perfect formation. Energy weapons lanced out, striking Vexcar shields with devastating precision. Fighter squadrons swarmed around the larger enemy vessels, targeting engines and weapons systems. 3 Vexcar ships immediately broke formation, turning to face the unexpected threat to their rear. Their weapons fired, green energy stabbing toward the human fleet. Evasive maneuvers, Zhang ordered calmly as the Leviathan shuddered under the impact of enemy fire. Concentrate fire on the lead vessel. Across the battlefield, Captain Rice watched in awe as the human reinforcements arrived. The Horizon had taken heavy damage during the prolonged engagement, with shield failures and weapon systems operating at reduced capacity. Her crew was exhausted, but they had accomplished their mission. They had held until help arrived. Captain, Lieutenant Chen called out, her voice filled with renewed energy. Admiral Zhang is requesting to speak with you. Put him through, Rice replied, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Zhang's image appeared on her view screen. Captain Rice, impressive work holding off 9 capital ships with just 3 vessels. Rice managed a tired smile. Just following the first rule of Earth defense. Admiral, we don't abandon friends. Indeed, Zhang nodded. Pull your ships back. We'll take it from here. With respect, Admiral, Rice straightened in her chair. My crew and I would like to see this through. Zhang studied her for a moment, then nodded. Very well. Join formation with Battle Group Echo. They're preparing to clear a path for our ground forces. As the battle raged in orbit, Colonel Maria Santos prepared her Marines for deployment. 7,000 soldiers equipped with the most advanced combat systems Earth could produce stood ready in dropships throughout the fleet. Listen up, Santos addressed her troops through the command net. The Nalari are a peaceful species. They have no concept of warfare. Our mission is to neutralize all Vexcar ground forces and protect civilian population centers. Remember your training for non-human civilian evacuation protocols. The Nalari are crystalline in structure. Handle with care. Avoid percussion weapons in their vicinity. She paused, looking at the tactical display showing Vexcar troop concentrations. The enemy has never faced human soldiers before. They think their hive mentality gives them an advantage. Show them what Earthborn adaptability looks like. Throughout the fleet, Marines checked their equipment one final time. Unlike the Vexcar, who relied on overwhelming numbers, human forces emphasized individual initiative, adaptability, and combined arms tactics. Each Marine was trained to function both as part of a unit and independently if necessary, a concept alien to the hive-minded Vexcar. In orbit, the battle had reached its climax. 3 Vexcar vessels were already drifting, their engines and weapons disabled. 2 more had surrendered, powering down their systems as human boarding parties secured their bridges. The Vexcar flagship continued to fight, even as its supporting ships were neutralized one by one. Admiral Zhang watched from the Leviathan's bridge as the enemy vessel launched a desperate salvo at his ship. Brace for impact, he ordered calmly. The dreadnought shuddered as its shields absorbed most of the energy, but damage reports began flooding in from the lower decks. Admiral, Commander Lai reported, the flagship's shields are at 12%. One more concentrated barrage will bring them down. Zhang nodded. All forward batteries, fire when ready. The Leviathan unleashed its full arsenal. Brilliant beams of energy cut through space, overwhelming what remained of the Vexcar flagship's defenses and slicing into its hull. Secondary explosions rippled along the vessel's length as internal systems failed catastrophically. Their weapons are offline, Lai announced. Engine core is destabilizing. Open a channel, Zhang ordered. When the connection was established, he spoke clearly. Vexcar flagship, your vessel is crippled. Abandon ship immediately. We will transport survivors to internment facilities. There was a long pause before a response came, not from Zexral, but from a lower-ranked Vexcar. The Hive commander is dead. We surrender. Zhang nodded to his communications officer to end the transmission. He turned to Okonkwo. Signal all ships. Begin ground operations. Dropships descended toward Nylar Prime's surface like avenging angels, marine strike teams deploying in and around major population centers. The Vexcar ground forces, suddenly cut off from orbital support and command direction, found themselves facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. Where the Vexcar fought as a coordinated hive, humans fought as individuals working in concert. Where Vexcar troops hesitated when communications were disrupted, humans adapted and improvised. The Vexcar had superior numbers. Humans had superior training, equipment, and something the Vexcar could never understand: the ingrained resilience of a species that evolved on a death world. Within hours, reports began flowing back to the fleet. Vexcar resistance collapsing in the northern continent. Nylari civilian shelters secured in the capital region. Enemy forces surrendering en masse in the archipelago territories. On the Leviathan's bridge, Zhang received the preliminary casualty figures with a grim expression. Earth forces had lost 17 ships, with another 23 damage. Over 500 personnel were confirmed dead, with twice that number injured. Nylari losses were still being calculated, but early estimates suggested tens of millions. Open a channel to Captain Reyes, Zhang ordered. When Reyes appeared on screen, her uniform was scorched, and a bandage covered one side of her face. The Horizon had taken heavy damage in the final assault. "Captain," Zhang acknowledged, "your actions saved countless Nylari lives today." Reyes shook her head. "It was a group effort, Admiral. Every ship that answered the call made this possible." "True," Zhang agreed, "but you were first. The Nylari will remember that." "What happens now?" Reyes asked. Zhang's expression hardened. "Now we make sure this never happens again. I've already contacted Earth Command. We're establishing a permanent defensive presence in the Nylari system, and we're sending a diplomatic mission to every world within 100 light-years with a simple message." "What message is that, sir?" "That Earth protects its friends," Zhang said firmly, "and that those who threaten peace will answer to humanity." As cleanup and recovery operations began on Nylar Prime, word of the battle spread quickly through interstellar communications channels. Species that had regarded humans with suspicion now looked at them with new respect, and in some cases, fear. Peaceful worlds that had felt vulnerable in a dangerous galaxy now sent diplomats to Earth, seeking alliances and protection. The Vexcar, their fleet decimated and their leadership captured or killed, retreated to their home systems to rebuild. But they had learned a valuable lesson, as had the rest of the galaxy. When the call for help goes out, Deathworlders respond, and they bring their entire fleet.